All right. You. Quiet on the set. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fuck with Philly, live from South Street. Your hosts, MC Alley, Rondo, Keenan from Limbo, Tourist on the engineer, Aaron on the photog, and our special guest today, Mr. Jon Loeb. What up, guys? Clap it up.
I'm back, you bitch.
So first off,
I wasn't gonna miss 2 in a row. Fuck that shit, man.
oh yeah, Rondo's back, dude. Rondo got out of work, dude. You know what I'm saying?
I
Rondo,
quit my job after that shit.
he said, "Fuck it, I ain't going back." Nah, but today's July 5th, right? Yeah. One day after one of the most important holidays that we could celebrate. You know what I'm saying? God bless the United States. What y'all do for July 4th, man?
I went to your fucking.
Oh yeah, shit. We all did
What
go
y'all
there,
do?
yeah.
Y'all just
Oh,
hosted
true,
a place.
yeah.
Went to your house.
I forgot about that.
Ate a whole bunch of burnt burgers and shit. It's like,
Damn, all right. You know what?
Yeah.
Them jokes are juicy.
They were good burgers, bro.
You
You
gotta be
guys see
careful.
fireworks afterwards?
Yeah.
No?
Nah,
You did?
nah,
Yeah,
nah,
I went to
nah.
the city for the
Yo,
fireworks.
I just
Oh, for
heard.
real?
Tell me if I'm lying. I just heard that like fireworks are like starting to be legal in PA. Like real fireworks.
or
No,
illegal?
legal.
Wait,
Like
where?
real fire.
Well, kind of. They have those tents and shit. Don't
Yeah,
they?
I see the
But
tents,
no,
but I
but
don't
you
know what
got-
level they're allowed
Those
to.
are like the bullshit.
Yeah, it's probably sparkles.
You gotta go to Jersey to get the good shit.
Like a
I heard
Roman
that shit
candle?
is starting to be
In
legal.
Delaware and shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of. Isn't it a weird thing? Like fireworks, if you think about it. It is kind of weird. Like, should we all have
Yeah.
fucking fireworks and
Like,
shit?
really, it's an explosive if you
How
think
many
about it.
people-
It's like explosives in the sky that happen to be different colors.
Why would you
Fucking
let me buy
crazy
explosives?
history too, yo. It came from like I heard it came from.
Yo, my
Asia,
dad.
right?
All right, so my dad actually told me right before I went out. It was funny as shit. Because I was like, I'm probably not gonna see the fireworks. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, what they used to do is do it, and you'd smoke opium and like watch it, and people would like in like China or
Define
something
opium.
trip out.
Started-
So it started off in Asia, and then they kind of spread it around. And
Define
shit.
opium. I'm not really too sure what that means.
Heroin.
Oh shit.
No.
Like poppy.
To me, it-
Like
Yeah, I
poppy
mean, it's like the
seeds.
opium plant, and then all opioids, including heroin, are like based off of that.
Oh
know?
shit.
That's
I
like
don't know much.
And
it's just more concentrated.
and all the
opium,
prescription
that's
drugs.
A plant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Opium.
Never knew that.
yeah.
Poppy come from poppy seeds.
like poppy fields. You ever see? You saw American Gangster? He went there. He was like, where was he at?
He was in
Vietnam.
Oh,
Was
he
it
was in
Vietnam?
Vietnam. 'Cause he was
I think
there for
Vietnam had a
soldiers.
big. That's how we got heroin in like the early 60s or late 60s, 70s kind of thing. But anyways, look, I love the United States. Thank you.
Thanks.
Happy birthday. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So
Thank
you know,
Will Smith for saving the earth yesterday.
yeah, plenty of times, man.
What happened? What did you do?
You don't know Independence Day? Yo.
Oh, great movie. Yeah.
That was cool.
Thank you, Will fucking Smith.
Did something
Thank
bro,
you for
shit.
spoilers.
Born in
But in America, you could do anything, right? You could start your own thing. You could start businesses. You could try things out. You can be invested in the culture of capitalism. And who better talk about than our buddy Jon? So, like, Jon, like, real quick, if you want, just, like where you're from, background on, like, you know, your family, how they got here, like, you know, who the fuck
true,
you are.
True. Okay, so like, my dad grew up in the U.S., but my mom's from France, and I was born in France. Like you were saying, U.S. you can start the businesses. Like that's not the case everywhere. So like, here they actually encourage like things like Alex's lemonade stand. Like when you're 5 years old, they're like, all right, go start a lemonade stand. See if you can make like $20 today. In France, that's like super illegal. If you see someone like said with a lemonade stand, the cops are gonna shut that down. They're gonna be like, oh, you're not taxing this? Oh yeah, that's cheating. You're cheating the system. So yeah, the U.S. they definitely try to help you, and that's what I tried to do after school. I'm like, I'm gonna launch my own business. So what I tried to do actually is try to figure out where things are going, not where things are at.
Gotcha.
So my business was revolved around self-driving cars, which is not something you see every day. Maybe there's a couple that's being tested here and there, but I wanted to, focus on something that's coming rather than focus on what's already here, because then you're not gonna make money in the future.
How would you, sorry, if you,
So what was this? Around what time frame exactly was it? All this happening?
Well, I started in like 2016, and like everyone knows that self-driving cars are coming. They don't really know like in what way and like when they're gonna be here, but everyone knows that they're coming. So my business was sort of like preparing for that in the transition. A lot of people, they don't want self-driving cars; they rather drive their own car. Because like it is spooky at first, because like you turn on the autopilot and it's not fully made yet. So when you turn it on, it's like kind of a combination of, all right, you can chill a little bit, but just know like, all right, it might mess up. So like you can chill, but just be ready to take over. And like actually, the first time I turned it on, like it scared me. It's like scarier. It's harder than actually driving because not only you're watching the road, but you're watching the steering wheel, trying to know if the car is going to do the right thing. And every time you're next to a truck, you grab it.
Do you think every car eventually is going to have self-driving? Not
Yeah,
just like...
I think eventually it's going to be illegal to drive for transportation. I think people are always going to drive for fun. You know, like, you know how you can go and you can
Like-
ride a horse if you want?
So
You
like, if
know,
you're on the
around-
highway, it's like you have to do a self-driving. That actually probably might be
Yeah, you
safer.
know, I think...
I've never heard anything like that before in my life.
Yeah.
Ever. I never heard, like, that's a crazy, like, that's, all right, keep going.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, driving is the only thing you do every day, which is like extremely dangerous. Like, all right, I might just kill
Yeah.
myself right now.
And it's annoying,
know,
too.
it's true.
Traffic
Yeah.
and shit.
How safe is it? Like, is it safe? Like, how safe is it? Like, is it 100% safe right now?
So right now, I would say like you could buy a car and it's statistically safer than a person on the highway.
Really?
But then if you take it off of the highway, it's gonna be worse than a person. So it's like
Okay.
a system that's learning.
Okay.
But what I was saying is it's gonna evolve. So you know, there's people used to ride horses to get around, and there's still like there's horse lovers, and you know you got to go somewhere, but you can go ride a horse, you know, and you know have fun. So I think there's always gonna be people who love to drive. You could buy a car and you can drive, but it's gonna be like on a closed track. It's gonna be like, all right, human drivers, you know. Because people are going to be used to almost like in San Francisco, for example, there's a lot of self-driving cars. That's where it's being developed. And it's gotten to the point where a lot of homeless people, they'll jump in front of the self-driving cars. So that way they'll be
shit.
like, all right, like this thing's going to hit me. I know Google's got insurance like crazy on this car. So, you know, the cars, yeah. So that's one thing, you know, like with the self-driving cars, it's almost harder to learn. Because a lot of people bully the cars and they know, all right, this is self-driving, so I'm going to treat it a little bit differently. I'm not going to treat it like a human driver.
So, yeah, but like, how would you even like, so did you go to school for business and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Or did you?
Yeah. So basically, like, I went to Drexel, which is a co-op school. I mean, and I got a minor in business too. Co-op school. So it means cooperative education. So you spent half your time studying.
And then trade.
But you also spent half your time working. You spent 18 months working. Yeah. So I did 3 co-ops. The first co-op I did was, you know, at this big company. I didn't enjoy it because I felt like, you know, I was like such a small speck of such a bigger environment that like I couldn't see my contribution. My second co-op, I worked in Israel at this startup. And, you know, I was like 1/5 of the company. It was like 5 people. So I definitely saw my contribution. And that's what really like pushed me to start my own company. So then for my third co-op, I worked for myself. I started a company and I worked at my own company. You know, people will work for me instead. Yeah.
And how did you like what is the process of, I mean, you need license, do you need, I mean, to really start up your own business? A lot of people want to, but there's a lot of laws and like logistics that you need to try. So.
I mean, technically it's just one paper. Like, you know, you do a little bit of paperwork. So you go to a bank and you say, all right, I want to start I want to create another bank account, but I want to make it a business account. And then they'll give you all the paperwork. They'll guide you through it so that way you open up your own business. And then you have legally your own business. And technically that's all you need to do. And you can have a business that doesn't make money. You just have a separate bank account. And actually some people, they create a business and they don't actually use it to make money. They just use it for loopholes, like with tax credit. For example, you can buy a car. And if you buy a car through a business instead of like as through your personal bank account, sometimes you can get tax credit. You know, you don't.
Yeah,
have to
because you
pay
could
taxes
on
the
your
car.
taxes.
This is stuff they don't teach in school. Why don't they teach this shit in school?
No, they don't. But because
That's a loophole.
illegal.
I guess
no, it's not
Yeah.
illegal. It's
not
because it
illegal.
helps you. It's just benefits.
it's
you.
illegal.
Yeah. So you could say your
could
business
sign
does
off.
whatever you want. Like my business is just me
Get a
driving
tax
this
break.
car around. It's not a very smart business. I'm not making money out of it, but at least you get the loophole out of it. You know? Yeah.
But like, so you do that, and then
Yeah.
do you need a lot of credit for something like that, or is that?
What you need credit for it, because at some point when you start a business, you're gonna need some money. You know, unless you're like you're doing something like software and like you know how to code yourself, that doesn't cost a lot of money because you just need a computer. You just sit down and write code all day. But for the most part, when you start a business, you know you're gonna need money to even just to build an office so people can come in. So for that, you need credit for. You need a reputation. You need to say, you know, where you've been. That way, when you talk to investors, you're not just some fool off the street. You know, like you've done something.
When running a business, do you need a location that's not residential? Is that something that comes along with a business or not?
Well, I did in my situation. You don't always. Like Apple started out of a garage. I'm pretty sure Amazon did too.
Yeah.
But like for me, I needed to be able to hire students from Drexel. They have the co-op system, so it was a great way to just get a lot of people in. A lot of the time, I didn't even need to pay them if they were part-time. So I could get someone legally who could work for me. I didn't have to pay. But in exchange, what I did is I had to buy a place that they could come and work that I wasn't sleeping at. It couldn't be residential for that.
Okay, so if you have employees, then it needs to be not in your home. Pretty much is what you're saying.
at least with Drexel it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did that like co-op thing. You were like doing your own like business. Did your school like encourage you to like recruit people from your school to like work with you? Is that okay?
At first they didn't because I was technically still a student, even though I was done taking classes and all I was doing is the business. But they're like, oh, we don't want one student to see another student's grade. But then after that, they encouraged it. They're like, yeah, we encourage entrepreneurship, and this is a Drexel alumni, and you should definitely, try to work for him, see what can make.
Yeah. That's all right. So like, so you in like a business, right? I mean, did you find the struggles in running one, and also like, I mean, if you want to go more in depth, what you did for self-driving cars. Yeah, like did you
I still got
like
a
a
question.
marketing
Is there
company
more
on it?
self-driving cars than Teslas? I thought that's the only self-driving car I know. I didn't even know it was Is that like something that like Toyota's gonna have their own self-driving car and shit, or like Honda?
So every car company is working on it.
I know they got the.
But
assist
Tesla's the
and all
one that so far has like
that.
mastered.
Self-driving.
Yeah.
So
Like,
I was
they're
in
the
like
ones that
cars
have
that
really
have
run a
like,
program.
you know how it's the lines in the street. If you like go off the lines in the street, the steering wheel will actually move you back over in the middle. It's like, what the fuck? At first I thought the car was, what the fuck is going on?
Oh yeah, but what are you doing with the business side involved with self-driving cars?
Okay, yeah. So I'll explain what I was doing, and then I'll explain different levels of self-driving. But basically, what I was doing is I made a simulator to transition people into self-driving cars and know when to trust and not trust the car. Because there's, it's like a VR. Like you put on a headset and you test it, but not in a real car. That way, if you don't know what it's almost like a game. That way, if you lose, if you lose in the game of life, you're dead. If you lose in a simulator, like, okay,
right.
you do it again, and you know how to prepare yourself for a real car. So, because it's a little different, when you're learning how to drive, you grab the steering wheel, you pay attention. But when you're learning to not pay attention to a system that's 100%, not 100% there, it's a little dangerous. So, we teach people to use it. We teach people, okay, you can drive around this simulator, but you can see sometimes you're stuck in traffic. You might want to turn autopilot on. But you also teach people when to not use it. So we create like environments where autopilot would fail in real life. A car cuts in front of you real quick, or like something that autopilot's not perfect at. We put you in those situations so to pay attention. You get in that habit before you get in a self-driving car.
So it's like a safe guide.
Yeah.
Smart as shit.
Yeah.
It's like you're making it's almost like, when you're on an airplane, you
Yeah.
make a video of like the things that you should do in case of crisis.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like crisis management.
Yeah.
A little bit,
So
right?
basically, like, because right now, because you're asking about different levels of self-driving. So the way it works, it's like, it's not like there's self-driving and not self-driving. It's basically like you have like different levels. So there's like cruise control. And then, like lane keeping, like, a bunch of different brand cars have lane keeping where essentially you're on the highway and they have traffic aware cruise control where it'll just stay in its lane. It won't follow the GPS. But like, if you're going straight for 100 miles, you can let go of the steering wheel and it'll stop. It'll go for other cars. And then there's different levels above that, where, it'll go through city traffic, but it still requires you to pay attention. And then, there's the last levels where either it doesn't require you to pay attention or it doesn't even require you to be in the car. You can just be like, oh, okay, go pick up my child and then come back. Now, not all cars are there yet. And then, so there's different levels. So there's the strategy where you try to make a car that's there already.
I need to do that same thing.
Yeah.
This is fucking me up right now. It's amazing.
I thought to cut you off. You said you can send your car and pick somebody up.
Yeah.
So isn't like a thing you could like trick the system in a car by putting like orange? Like, is it a weighted system?
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially, with my car, the steering wheel, it asks you every 2 minutes or so, you got to grab it to show you're paying attention. Now, this company, they started selling this product you could put on the steering wheel.
Fake hands.
Yeah, and it,
Oh my
and it would pretend your hands are there. And
How
then-
lazy can fucking people get?
But then the
Holy
thing is,
fuck.
this
Got
is
this
the
car
funny part.
driving you around, and you gotta have fake hands on it. What the fuck,
But
man?
get ready.
That's
No, if you want to talk
crazy.
about loopholes, I can talk about loopholes. Basically, the government made this thing illegal because they're like, okay, you gotta pay attention. So then the company came back and they made the exact same product, but with a magnet in it that can hold your phone. So now it's not a pay attention
it's
tool.
a
It's a phone holder that goes on your steering wheel that does the There's always a loophole. Yeah, but I mean, obviously you shouldn't use it. But like, so what I was saying with the different levels of self-driving. So what Tesla's doing, because there's two parts to self-driving. There's like the cameras and the sensors and the ability to recognize your environment around you. And then there's the software and the ability to use that information to actually, the brains, to be able to make it drive. So what's different between Tesla and most cars is like Teslas come with all of the hardware. They have cameras everywhere around the car.
How many? Like 7, right?
Yeah, there's
Is that-
actually 8 cameras around the car.
Where does it record to?
The cameras are just looking like all directions around the car, and they have enough that you can remove any camera, and it's redundant. You can still see 360
It's like a sensor.
degrees.
It's like a sensor.
Yeah, but it's not smart enough yet to know what to do with the information from all the cameras. So the way it works is that you get software updates. So it starts like every other car. It can't drive itself. And then every couple of months, it'll be like, all right, we figured out how to do this. We figured out how to do this until eventually, And eventually, I mean, there's even a camera on the inside. So what I was saying, you could go pick your kid up. Okay, so what they want to do is they want to be like Uber. So like you can go and have people get picked up by your car. And then you can go and like see on the camera like who's inside your car and what they're doing. What? And like, yes, because right now you only use your car about 5% of the time. Usually it's parked about 95% of the time. So that's a wasted asset.
You said like Uber. I have a
Oh my
question.
god! I never
How
even
many?
thought about it like
how
that.
many?
You're
yo,
fucking genius. Yo.
How many?
Wait,
How many
wait,
companies?
wait.
But like he said they trying to be like Uber. That made me like think. How many companies do you think they're knocking off by coming out with these like more like what is it?
Everybody.
Like that's
They
all right.
taking
So if they're
everybody's
doing, if you're
business.
sending, if you can be able to send your car to pick your kid up, you're already knocking Uber off.
Yeah.
And, like Lyft like that.
Exactly.
So
'Cause
what
now
else?
you're-
What else could that like? I guess like food companies. Like if you want to
Yeah,
get like
food
order
delivery,
everything. The thing-
everything.
The thing with a lot of the
A lot of people-
I
self-driving
mean, even
stuff.
cars are gonna change. Like, it's not even like someone's gonna go and put food in the car. It's gonna be
Yeah.
like a supermarket on wheels.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have like a little like 7-Eleven come to you,
Yo.
and you're just gonna pick out what you want. You
Talk
know?
about GoPuff. Yo, GoPuff on wheels, bro.
Jesus,
you want
You
some,
said that.
The
some
fucking
gas,
future, dude.
Get some weed and a blunt. They fucking drive right.
So
to
do you start with this like business? Do you start selling it to dealerships? Do you start like, is it a thing are you guiding it towards a certain company?
So what you got to do is have a bunch of strategies because you don't know which strategy is going to work.
Yeah.
So what you do is you figure out what you're going to build, and then you figure out as many ways to sell it as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So the ways we were looking at is we could put it in dealerships. So you learn about the car before you buy it, and a lot of people don't want to test autopilot on the road. So you're like, all right, you can test it in the dealership. We also worked with driving schools. Because we're going to be like, okay, people are now no longer going to learn to drive. They're going to learn to not drive. So if you want to stay relevant, you need our shit. So
you would sell it to like educational institutions, right?
yeah,
That's
we
pretty
try
smart.
to design it to be a tool. And then like sometimes like my mom, her friend, the way she made her simulator work really, really well is like she did it like through a legal way. And she basically made it so the state of Ohio, like to get your driver's license, you have to use her simulator. So then they started using them everywhere.
Wait. Go back. Wait. So she has a simulator also? Y'all both have
Ronald's
simulators?
Now hers is
Wait.
What the fuck is going
Wait, John.
on?
My bad. Yeah. Man.
So wait, so your mom has a simulator. So y'all, this is
Mom's
something.
friend.
Oh, your mom's friend.
yeah.
Okay.
So essentially, my mom has worked in this field for a while, but their simulator is like it's been built for a long time. So the way it works is it's just designed to teach you how to drive. It doesn't have anything to do with the self-driving. But this is
Okay.
like a company,
That's smart,
that's
though.
existed for a while, and this is something that they're doing. you know?
Yeah. All right. That's cool.
And is it strictly? Sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead. I just had a question. Like, this is not off topic, but like, this is like, was this your first venture? Like, how many ventures did you have before like you found this company?
I mean,
Good
I've
question.
definitely worked on projects before, but I wasn't like serious about making a company and like with one idea and until this idea, like quite as much, and I didn't put as much effort into like anything else. Yeah.
But so like, I feel like you seem to have this business mindset. Have you been doing this since you were young? Like
since I was young, I was working on my own projects. So like I would make YouTube videos or I would make apps. You know, so that's
YouTube videos about what? Like what you do? You're a vlogger.
No, I would always make tech videos.
Oh, okay.
So like you know like
That's
and
smart,
then
You're the videos I'm always watching.
Yeah, you remember I used to have like a website. You know,
It was
like
just him. It was like you. It was you going like you got a new laptop, and it's for someone that just got a new laptop, and you're setting it all up and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I remember it's crazy. Back in the day, John had actually like a bunch of fucking views on these things, and we're like, wait, is John famous for like opening packages and shit? Like, and also, man, to give it to you, I mean, have you like, do you invest in like you were investing in stocks too, like when you were young, like with your own money?
Yeah, and actually, it's funny because when I was doing it, I didn't even feel cool. Like when I like
You're like hiding it.
Yeah, no, it was like I got my bar mitzvah money, and I was like an Apple fanboy nerd, and like so my dad's like, "What do you want to do with it?" I'm like, "Just invest it all in Apple stock." You know, and then I was always talking to people. I was like looking at my Apple stock.
And that was
like,
before iPhones, right?
Yeah, I invested before the iPhone came out.
Crazy.
Yeah, and
Damn.
yeah.
What year was that? Wait, hold on. Wait, iPhones came out in what?
I think I invested.
like
I
13,
think I
right?
invested in
Middle
2009. I think that's
Yeah, we were like middle
So-
school.
Because there was iPods and the
Yeah.
iTouches, but there was
iPods.
never an
iPods.
iPhone yet.
There wasn't
There wasn't an iPhone.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask you what products made you like want to invest in Apple. So it was like what?
How did that turn around? Did that turn around really well for you?
Yeah.
I can imagine. Did you
I mean,
keep?
I've lost money too. I've definitely lost a lot of money, but with
From the grand
Apple,
scheme, have
I
you-
made money. Yeah, and in the grand scheme, like since I started investing, like I made money, but you have really bad years. You know, this year, like Tesla stock is. I mean, the thing about Tesla stock also is it's the most shorted stock in history. So when shorting is essentially usually you buy stock, and which means you buy like when the company's really low, and then you sell when the company's really high.
Okay.
Okay.
Like in and out.
Yeah,
With
and
your
then shorting is the opposite. So essentially you borrow stock from the bank. Okay, so you sell before you have any of the stock. And then you tell the bank, okay, so the bank gives you a bunch of money, like you're just like selling it to the bank. But then
It's
they're
like
like,
a
okay,
loan.
we're gonna buy it off you afterwards. Okay.
The bank is
So it's like a loan.
But is it confirmed? Like,
Yeah.
are they going to definitely buy it with the stock?
like, yeah.
goes
So
down?
that's the thing exactly. So if you invest, like if you do normal investing where you buy stock, the worst thing that can happen is you lose all your money. Okay.
That's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad, right?
That's pretty bad.
You lose all
Well,
your
the
money.
money that you put into the
because
stock.
because the company goes to zero. So if the company goes to zero, you lose. That's the limit. It can't go, and the company can't go negative. Okay, but if you borrow the stock, it's a lot more risky because there's no limits to how much it can grow. So it's not like you just lose all your money. It's like you're in debt. You owe the bank a lot more than you have if the company keeps growing.
So it's way better to not short it.
Yeah, I mean you can make a lot of money that way, but you put the limit on how much you can make, rather than how much you can lose. So
If I had like $500, what would be the best thing for me to like invest in right now? Yeah. He's thinking.
I mean, the way I do it, it's not about how much. It's not like I have 500 versus I have 5,000. Like what I would do is like, you pick a company that you know well. So like a rule I have is I won't invest in a company unless I own a product from them. Because then you get to know the product, the flaws, and you know the good sides, and you know how quickly they address
like
the
studying.
flaws.
So give us an
Doing your
example.
homework.
Give us an example. Like, what kind of company could you own a product from?
Okay, so like if you like Apple, you can invest in. Netflix you use. It's like what Intel, for example. Like Intel's a company you don't really think about, but their chips are inside your laptop. So if you use your laptop every day, you're using an Intel product every day.
Shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, we were talking about this before. Like, how rich is a guy that like made? Is there like one company that makes zippers?
We didn't talk about this before.
It's called YXX.
No, I'm just curious because like,
Are
they monopoly?
Now, no,
No,
but like there
YZZ.
could have been like a patent on the zipper, and then for a couple of years.
Can you do that like from to that degree? Like,
For the
get a
record,
patent
y'all,
or
he's talking
something
about
like that?
every single zipper,
Like,
like on your
Did
book
you
bag,
get a
on your
patent
pants.
on what you did? And like,
I
what does
did
that
get a
cover?
patent, but I actually didn't think the patent was like necessary for what I was doing.
Okay.
But like sometimes a patent can help you just because like when you talk to investors and you say you have a patent, and like certain investors that'll excite. But then the thing is, like, it depends on what you're making. So sometimes, like, if you have a patent, often there's ways around the patent. You can just do the same thing and just change something. But then,
like lifting an Uber.
yeah, like you can't patent like a general idea. You can sort of patent like a technical way of making something. So for example, the foldable phones. You start to see these foldable phones on the internet. Next couple of years you might see them come out. So there's a bunch of patents, but there's still every company has a foldable phone, and it's just each one makes the mechanism slightly differently.
Just a bit, huh? So that's the way
That's
to
how
get
you
around
have
that kind of
Aki
shit.
shit. Everything's Aki. You know how something.
Yeah.
So like, if I had a song, I don't know if you know this, but if I had a song and I like slowed it down
Yeah.
a little bit and I played it in a movie, would that count as me changing it, like remixing it?
I mean, yeah,
And then I wouldn't be
I
sued.
mean,
or
it
whatever?
all depends on how the patent is written. But like essentially, the way you have to think of it is a patent can't save you. Like you gotta innovate and you gotta grow and come up with new ideas. But a patent can buy you some time. Like if there's a really obvious way of doing it and the way to get around the complicated thing, the way around the patent is doing a really complicated way instead.
Yeah.
Like it could probably buy you a year. They're like, all right, we got to figure out another way of doing it. But like eventually, and then patents also expire.
Wait. I also asked though, like he said, if you had $500,
Yeah, we had $500.
What would be like a good? Well, if it's not like a specific company, like what kind of like company should you look for?
What has been the
company
most
that you-
like consistent thing? Maybe.
I would say the most consistent thing would be to invest in big companies that are like have been doing well, and then divide your money amongst that. So if you were to say, okay, I'm gonna take like X number of dollars and divide it by 5, so I'll put 20% of the money in the top 5 biggest companies. Like, okay, maybe 1 or 2 of those companies are gonna go down, but out of the top 5, probably most of them are gonna keep going up. Okay, so that's not the quickest way of making money. The quickest way is finding something that nobody's heard of, and then it's gonna blow up. But if no one's heard of it, you haven't heard of it. So
is
it's
true.
so it is. So it's not the quickest way of making money, but it is like a safe way of making money.
Could you invest in like? I always thought like investing in something like water, like clean water.
Yo,
Would that be something that's
I've
like?
been saying that, yo. Because
Water never
remember
brought
Mr.
business.
Banks, yo? Mr. Banks from Abington.
Yeah,
Association?
and I had a teacher tell me that too one time.
He said that like we're about to be having like water wars and people are gonna be fighting over clean water sources. Like, is that a good idea?
Like, could you do that?
Get him
Could
out of
you
all
do
the
that?
money and water. Fuck,
Yo.
I'm with you, bro.
I mean, is that something that makes sense? I mean, because you would have to bet on. You'd have to not bet, but it's kind of like. Is it like betting? Do you think
Yeah.
of it as poker?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
I think of it as betting. I mean, the difference is if you go to Las Vegas, and you bet in a casino, you can make money.
most
But
times-
you're probably not going to lose. You're probably going to lose your money. Okay. And there's still a lot of people who win because the way they do it is they just make it so enough people win that people want to keep going because you hear about people who won a lot. So like if 40% of the people go make money, that's still a lot of people making money, but most people lose their money, 60%. So that's how Vegas works. You're probably going to lose your money. The way I think of it as the stock market is it's random.
It depends. So
we never going to the casino again.
He loves the casino.
I don't know, man. Not no more. What's your number, man? We
My
gotta
number,
keep it
I'll
tight.
give you my number. All right.
what's the like for like what goes into the stock market being good? I guess just business is doing good, right? So
Yeah.
like us buying shit
Yeah.
gets you money.
I mean,
right?
you
And
can
people
invest in a
consuming.
lot of things. You can invest
okay.
in gold and things like that.
Oh, like currency, things like
I mean,
that.
the way people invest in gold, they don't buy a bunch of gold and wait around in their house. They invest in like GLD, which is like they basically like the right to buy gold. Like it's like the same thing. Like you tell the bank, okay, I owe you this much gold, and I'm gonna buy it. Like when it, so like when you sell out, that's basically you would like, yeah.
Is it illegal? All right, so this might be a stupid question. I don't know.
Go for it.
Can you invest in yourself and make money?
Investing in yourself is just starting a business.
That's true. All the money.
Yeah.
No, but I mean,
But I'm saying, like, if you had a business and you didn't fully own it. All right, say
Oh,
like,
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so
No, that
so
is a
if
good
you're
question. That's a
okay,
good question.
yeah, that is a good question.
are
I
you
see what
allowed to
mean.
only own so much of your business? Is there like
Okay.
a certain amount that you have to give away to stocks? Like, what if you didn't want people? I don't know.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like,
So if you look at like all these big companies, like Jeff Bezos, he owns 16% of Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, so And so basically, like, no matter how, if you want to keep growing, you're gonna have to keep sharing. Okay, so you're always gonna get a smaller piece of the pie. Okay, 16% of Amazon is huge. You know, he got up to like 160 billion. Okay, so because if Amazon was worth $1 trillion, so 16% of $1 trillion, you're doing pretty well. But you gotta always gotta keep expanding and giving shares out. You're not gonna have like 50% of Amazon. But the point is, he has a bunch of cash too. Like, I'm sure he's cashed out a lot. So every once in a while, he might want to buy shares of Amazon. Okay, but the thing is, so investing in yourself, it's a little more complicated because there's what's called insider trading, which is illegal. So he knows Amazon's numbers. So what he's not allowed to do is right before reporting Amazon's numbers, invest a bunch of money. Then he says, "Oh, we did really well," and then he cash out and make a bunch of guaranteed money. Okay, so that's illegal. But what you can do is you can be like, okay, I want to invest in Amazon, and I'm going to just do it on a regular interval, so that way, no matter what, like I would have invested, like, you know, so there's legal ways of doing it, but you got to be careful about it, because otherwise you can get like in trouble for insider trading.
Is it good though to have one big ass business, like even just for profits on your end? Probably not, right? I feel like the shares there's value, right?
You want to diversify.
Like, is that possible? He's saying like 100% owned, like
Walmart. Like, what if Walmart just was 100% owned by one person? Is that what you mean?
Well, that's what I asked at first, yeah. But but then they wouldn't have any partners or anything. Probably they wouldn't be making money. I mean,
you can't own the whole business because, like, at the end, if like everyone who's involved has to get paid somehow. Okay, and if you want to expand, usually what you do, because when you start a company, you can't afford to pay people. So what you do is say, okay, I'm going to give you 1% of the company, and you work for me for a year, and it's in your best interest to do your best, because then if you do your best, 1% is going to be worth a lot. But if you don't do your best, then 1% is going to be worth nothing. Okay?
But what if it's like what if you have a business that you don't have employees? Like, what if it was something on like the internet, so it was something you can do by yourself?
Yeah, so do you need employees to start a business technically?
You can run like a one man show, you know?
But that probably doesn't go well on your mental or anything either.
Yeah,
like all the bullshit grunt work that you got to do. It's almost better to have.
Definitely, like, it's better, even just to, like, have a social interaction. Because, like, a business, you're putting all your time and energy into it. So if you're by yourself, just thinking and just doing your own thing, you're gonna go crazy. So
that's the most important thing, is having a solid team. I feel like that's what comes first. I feel like
it
makes it worth it too.
Yeah.
What's that process of, like, do you like put the job out on like Indeed or something like that, and then just kind of like get employees that way? Or
I mean, what I did is, like, I got like as many people to apply as possible. So I got maybe in like one term I had like 100 applicants. Wow. And then I'm like, okay, out of these people, first I'm going to look at like all their resumes, and like there's a bunch you can already eliminate. You're going to be like, all right, like they have no grades that I want, and you know, like their skills, like skills to avoid that a bunch of people don't put on their resume. Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. It's like, okay, like everyone knows how to use Word. If you're bragging about using Word, like I don't want to have an interview with you. Okay. So then, like, what you do is you talk to people, like, and then you see if you like can work with this person. Okay. Because, like, you're going to be seeing them every day, and it's like, okay, like, I need to be able to work with you. Like, first off, we have to be compatible, and then, like, you have to be interesting, and I need to be able to learn from you, too. Because, like, if all the ideas are coming from you, then, like that's, like, essentially, you want to find people smarter than you that you can learn from.
Exactly.
Okay? I believe it.
You got to hire your boss.
If you can't do a job, hire someone that can do it better.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if this is
the least
true,
talented person.
They say if you're the smartest guy in the room.
No, not that.
If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah, 100%. But I heard a quote. Supposedly it came from Steve Jobs. I don't know, but he said that he like hiring lazy people, because they always figure out the easiest way to do shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Not productive. I don't think he means like literally.
That makes sense.
Not lazy
like people that look for like loopholes and like
like loopholes.
It's
like
efficient people.
Like, it's not that difficult, bro. Do it this way. It's like, all right, people like that. You know, I guess lazy, not lazy, but like,
no,
I don't know.
I know there was this guy basically, and like, I don't know exactly what what his job was. It was like to survey people on the internet or something, and like essentially you get like a little commission for each person that was surveyed. Okay, but he was a programmer, and he's like, okay, I'm not going to sit here and survey people. I'm going to write a program, and it's going to survey them. Okay, and then
Just a shortcut.
one day his boss, he's like, oh yeah, so you just are not doing anything, and like he's like, I guess. I mean, I'm interviewing more people than everyone else, and he looked at how much, and like he was actually making more money than his boss from each commission because it's such a small amount. And then like eventually he just took over that whole division. Because they didn't need people surveying one by one when he has a program that could do it. So yeah, so then he got salary from the whole thing. So like sometimes the lazy people are the efficient people that make it work.
That's true.
Like for a
I think
fraction of the cost.
Definitely in tech too. I think definitely in tech too. Because I feel like what technology is to make our lives easier anyways.
Yeah.
Like for everything. Like we just have little slaves around. Honestly, like if you go outside, we have. I mean, cars are technology. Like,
But yo, is that good? All right, so like that's where it gets like a little tricky because like is it?
But
In
with
a
the car,
minute-
we were
all
able
right,
to
like,
get
listen,
down here and
I
do
heard
this right
something
now.
a while
That's
ago,
pretty
like,
dope.
It was something saying like, all right, listen, if you really think about it, humans are like, this is about to sound absolutely ridiculous, but cyborgs, yo, like we got all these attachments to us and shit. Our phone, our
phone, I feel like,
laptop,
is an
our
attachment.
car. You feel what I'm saying? Everything we're like, we got all these little gadgets and shit. Like, it's gonna turn a bit. We're gonna stop being human at some point. We're just gonna have a electronic for everything. You know what I'm saying?
But I also think this allows creativity to.
It definitely
better,
could.
too.
I mean, it's gonna make things a lot easier.
Does,
but
it's
it's gonna be. It might come with a cost. I don't know.
I'm not fucking with the robot shit. You ever see that? What is it? Boston Dynamics.
Like, what
or
if a
whatever?
robot like?
Yeah.
Oh, yo,
That shit is
like,
scary.
Like,
Yeah,
what
no,
if
the
about
thing-
robot
the thing
cops?
So scary.
Those robots, it's like you see people videos of like people trying to beat the shit out of the robot,
Is
like
that
kick
kinda
it down.
wait, hold on.
It's like okay, it's like we don't want these things to be our enemies, but like
We're just beating the shit out of them in videos.
and it needs to get up, and
Wait,
the guy
hold
like
up.
kicks it down.
I
and,
don't
like, beats
care
it with
what
a
I am.
stick.
I don't care what I am. If I'm a table and I see some guy beating up a bunch of other tables, I'll be like, fuck them. They're yelling at me. They're telling me what to do. Alexa, change the song. Just yelling at me all day. I'm like, all right, yeah, fuck you. They can't say nothing
It's
back.
like
They gotta be
we
polite. It's
don't
weird.
want to become the enemy of the robots.
We don't.
But the thing,
Like,
They're going to be
If they
smarter.
come out
than
with
us.
electric cops, would you guys be
Yeah.
scared?
I would
I'd be
terrify.
terrified.
I'm saying. Like, it could be like.
I would be jaywalking and, just, and I'd be like, oh shit, like this.
I'm not him.
Yeah.
You're him.
No one
that's
said
what
that,
Ronald was
bro.
saying though. He's right, yo. I don't think that's good, yo. Because like we want to go down to like a basic level, like our primal level. We're like separating from our like
But
instinct.
what if we evolve like a butterfly and we just become half machine, half blood people, you know?
That's the only way.
It's the only way. That's all we can
If
do.
you can't beat them, join them. That's
Exactly.
what they say. Yeah.
Hey man, listen. What if you could have real fast though? What if you could have a chip in your heart that like when you go to the doctor, so you know when you scan your car, it's like this is what's fucking wrong with it. When you go to the doctor, they go bleep, and they go, oh, you're a little down on that maybe. Some a little. It's like they can just dissect you in seconds through
Mirror shit.
technology.
That was that one Black Mirror.
You wouldn't do
episode.
that though.
Yeah, well, in certain things it'll work.
That's
If I could just put it in my
things are
hand or
safe.
something.
okay. But what if we got hit with an EMP or whatever you call it, and we don't have any electric? What are we gonna do then? We're doing.
I mean, you already like basically live off your phone. Like if I drop you off in a new country, like you can't
Yeah.
speak the language, you got no
We
phone.
actually- yeah.
Like you're fucked. Like what the fuck are you gonna do? You know?
we used to know how to
You get shot the
maneuver.
fuck up.
We used to maneuver.
Hold on,
We
wait,
knew
yo,
how to-
think about that shit for a second, yo. If you were in another country with no phone and you didn't speak their language, what the fuck would you do?
You're not
Cry.
doing shit. Yo, we were talking about the last podcast with our buddy who's kind of like, I mean, he's thinking about that kind of stuff, you know, like what if a power shit goes out? And I was thinking, I mean, be honest, like if you were like, if electricity went out for like a month, because I said on the last one, but it happened in like 1865 or something, and it was out for like a month, like they just used what is it? What's that thing called? Where you tap it? I forgot. You know what I'm talking about? Like Morse code.
Oh yeah.
That was the only thing they used it for, right? And that was out for like a month. Imagine if all electricity went out for like a month now. We wouldn't have money.
I wouldn't
Like,
have a job.
my
My job
money
is
is
with electricity.
on-
I'll be out.
My money is all electric. I don't got a fat stack.
You require the system already.
Yeah.
You already require the system, and the thing is that the system's gonna keep growing. Like, once computers can learn, All they need to do is download the internet, and then they know everything we know. Okay, and then the thing is like it's like us with ants, you know, like essentially we're gonna be an ant to a computer, and the way we look at ants is like we don't particularly hate them, you know, like
we let them do their thing.
We let them do their thing, but if we want to build a road, we don't check if there's like a little ant colony on the way. We just build the road. So like if the computer is way smarter than us, it's gonna have its own plans. It just wants to do whatever it was programmed to do.
So we're fucked. So we're saying
we gotta stay the friend of the computer and
don't
join
yell
the computer.
Everybody out there,
we need more organic technology.
Right? Don't yell at your phone.
Don't yell at your phone
because they remember.
Stop yelling at Alexa.
They'll remember everything.
They remember when I was talking about Spider-Man, and then I was talking about like fucking donuts or something. And on my feed, it was just Spider-Man and donuts, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Electric.
And I feel like I took a class that was
Electric Lives Matter. He's
right.
right.
Electric Lives Matter.
But it's kind of like just the collection of data and like how big that is right now. And like when it really started was like when we're at war, like we just wanted as much intel and data as we could. So that's how like the internet started. Was I forgot the shit.
I started the internet.
It's no good. I feel like
do you know who started
I feel like having too much like knowledge and intel is not good. Remember we were talking about with the fights and shit? Like almost like thinking you know, or going by like patterns that you think are there might actually knock you off your square. You know what I'm saying? We got too much intel on like something we're gonna you know what I'm saying?
You know what's kind of interesting though? I feel like there's this weird bounce back right now because I feel like a lot of people are kind of like this, like with. I feel like I don't know, like with fucking shit. I totally forgot what I was gonna say. Somebody fucking fried. You see? God damn it, dude.
No, but the thing with the internet though,
the bounce back, like with the phone, right? With Apple, like pretty much it's like. They start telling me my screen time. Do you see that? Oh no, and it kind of like I feel like it's kind of strange that they as a product they want you to be addicted to that thing. Yeah. But even them are like, you know, I think who we really should be trusting is like the tech people that are making these things. And that's the thing. It's like some people are going a little crazy. And I feel like do you think there should be like laws or things like that?
I mean, I think the computer can learn about you way too quickly. Like if you search something on Google, it will give you the result before you're even done asking the question. You know, it'll already like have it filled in like the auto. And like I know someone asked me a question. You know, like today someone asked me a question, and like I just used the predictive keyboard, and like I just kept tapping it, and basically Google knew the answer to the question. Like I didn't have to type it out. I just used the suggestive keyboard, and like it's like this thing knows who I am. Like how did it know that was the answer to that person's question? You know, like. Yeah.
So, but one of the biggest things too is like investing in these tech companies, right?
I mean, you can definitely make a lot of money that way, but like
aren't they the top like 6 businesses in the world or something?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, like Apple and like Amazon and Microsoft. Like I think those are like the top 3 companies in the world, and then like
some with oil maybe.
Yeah, Google's real big.
Oh, I had a question.
Real big.
I was telling him I was
going there, you know, doing some stuff.
My bad. I was just saying. I was telling him in the car coming here. I was gonna ask you this, like in layman's term, because I've been hearing this word a lot, and I think I know what it means, but I'm not sure. What does equity mean? Having equity in something.
Equity means you own a percentage of the company. So like if the company gets bought. Then
so they're asking you
then
for
you're
money
gonna get part of the deal. Or if like the company goes public, and that means like when it goes public, they say okay, 30% of our shares are public to like whoever wants to own a piece of the company. Then you have equity, and then if you worked at the company and they gave you equity, it's like you already have shares that you know. Okay. But then there can be difference between shares.
Is there negatives to that? Like if you were a part of that, like having equity on a company.
Could I like bring you down? Like if someone
like could you lose money somehow with that?
I mean, if you
are
take,
they asking you for money in that?
So like essentially, if you want to get paid, but you're like, all right, I'm gonna get paid in equity, then and the company fails, it's like you didn't get paid. So that's like losing a bunch of money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I got a question that I bet you nobody ever thought of. Well,
brand new question right off the top.
No, yo, all right. So back to this car shit, because this car shit is fucking me up. I'm getting one as soon as they come out. So you know how now we gotta get a license? How is that gonna work? Because the car's gonna be able to drive itself. So can I be 10 years old and have enough money to buy one of these cars, and like you don't technically need a license, right? Because that shit driving itself, right? So what? It's gonna have to be some.
Yeah,
kind
they're
of
gonna have to build some new laws.
You know what I think is eventually gonna happen? You know what I think is ready? You know what I think is eventually gonna happen is everyone's gonna have this like it's like a handy thing. It's almost like a skateboard, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like everyone has one. And like wherever you go, like right when you go to the road, it just opens up for you pretty much. Like I was thinking about like what if you had a foldable car, right? Not like completely like this.
Go gadget,
you
Tesla.
could kind of like you could like almost like you can unextend it, right? Retract it. And then you could reach and then you could
Like you get tight spots and shit.
I don't know, but I feel like what's gonna eventually happen is like when you're born, it's almost like a phone, like it's always with you, kind of thing. Yeah, it's just something that like takes you somewhere. It's like your self-serve. It's like your servant.
Like a kite. Alright, just take a kite out.
Yo, this might be weird. This might be weird to say, but like I feel
Like
like
a jetpack.
we need to start combining like psychedelics, like mostly like DMT and stuff like that. We need to start figuring out what that is, and combine it with technology. So I feel like I don't know. You know how I'm real
crazy.
shit. You know how in Black Mirror they be putting those things on the side of their head,
Yeah.
and they'll like go into like the game or like they'll like go into like see shit.
I
in their
mean, yeah,
mind.
that's definitely
That's like
possible.
almost like
I think, you know?
That's actually
Because like the way drugs work is it's just a chemical, and you know that's the chemical that your brain reacts to. But I feel like if you knew how chemicals work like 100%, like instead of carrying around a phone, you could just like have the proper chemicals in your brain that like you see a phone, but like you can use it somehow, you know?
It's just like it's like a nicotine thing.
Yeah.
It's like a piece of nicotine gum. It's like I'm getting my fix. I feel it. I'm happy as shit. I feel loved. I feel beautiful. Everyone's liking all my pictures and shit in my head.
Yo, what if they
It'd be
came
dope.
out with a simulated DMT trip or a simulated like?
I don't think you could do that.
I mean, yeah, I
might be
feel like
able
that's
to.
what hypnosis could be, you know?
It could
Like, you
be
could be
something
like,
like
all
that.
right, now you're gonna feel like you're tripping, and like I feel like if you've tripped before, your brain might be able to like
Actually trick
simulate
yourself.
that.
It's kind of like
Buddhist monks think that they say like a lot of people, that you can get all those like feelings that of like with meditation, like the feeling of tripping on shrooms or being high. They said you could feel that shit naturally, without doing any drugs. People meditate and they say like, oh, I feel like I was like tripping on like acid, but they weren't on any drug. I feel like we could
people
reach
do that
all
like there's like yoga that's supposed to get you like fucking.
Well, it's almost like
hot
everything
yoga,
else. Like
hot
think
yoga
about
probably
like,
got you tripped. Wait, when you do hot yoga, I bet you your mind goes into some
yo,
type of.
I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, I
I'ma
get
tell you how
tired
think
as
about-
shit. It's hot as fuck, and I feel like falling.
You go to
down.
the gym, right?
Yeah.
When you go to the gym, you probably take like some like protein or like creatine and shit like that.
I don't take that.
Well, not.
I take pre-workout
I should be
just
on
so I
the-
can get like pumped up.
I
and,
should
like,
be on the juice. It's like, no,
that
but like you
juice.
work out.
I want that lean
No, like
muscle.
like you work out, you might take protein and shit.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you can like get all that shit with like just regular working out and shit. But like, if you use this supplement, it's gonna get you there a little quicker. That's pretty much what like drugs are probably. Like you probably are.
think
right.
about what
You
medicine
could probably
is.
reach
People
that
were-
form of
people used to be
consciousness at the
dying-
same time, but
yeah.
like you just use the drugs to get there a little quicker.
Wait, how did we get here?
Yo,
I don't
I'm
know.
just saying, like, think about what medicine is, though. What's medicine? Like, people used to be dying from fucking, like, and now we just.
Nah,
That's
people
called
die from diarrhea.
Montezuma's Revenge.
Somebody died from shitting. They was full of
What
shit.
do you mean?
They were full of shit.
That's called cholera.
No, but I'm saying, like, I feel like maybe technology is just something that's supposed to kind of help us out and stuff.
It's a pro and a con and everything.
Yeah. I don't want them to be thinking. I hate all this, like, we have it on Jeopardy. This thing is smarter than ever. Kill it. Destroy
Turn it off. Turn it off.
Big black fucking
It was
AI thing.
which company? It was
AI was on Jeopardy.
yeah, basically like it downloaded Wikipedia.
It was
IBM,
GE.
IBM.
Oh, IBM, yeah.
Yeah. Watson, IBM Watson. That's the name of their AI, and it's essentially just like they disconnected it from the internet, but like it had a bunch of the internet downloaded, like Wikipedia and stuff, and like I think it just like mastered. It's all, essentially games or like how they're building AI. They're like, okay, a game is like
But
a
that's
small
learning it
simulation
to
of something in reality. You know,
Make
like
decisions, though.
like. So like a game is just getting good at some random thing. You know, you're good at a game. So what they do is they try to make AI that's like as good at every game as possible, because then it's good at as many things as possible. So they're like, okay, let me take the same thing that was good at chess, but now make it good at chess and poker. Okay, now let me make it good at chess.
So it has a higher IQ.
And like photo recognition. So what they do is they try to make one AI that can do a bunch of things.
So
and that's called like
IQing. Isn't that like that's what an IQ is though? You know what an IQ test is? It's not how good you are at one thing. It's how good you are at a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
So that's a higher IQ on somebody. How high is this? So we're just gaining their IQ, right? Technically. Sorry, I'm getting.
So it's gonna get to a point, but don't you think it's gonna get to a point where like we have these different AI things. So Tesla's basically AI in a way, right? Our phones are kind of AI in a way. Yeah. Is there gonna be like a point that we get to like a plateau that every technology thing that we have is like smarter on the same level? You know what I mean?
Like a smart.
Yeah, I see. What you mean. I feel. Yeah, I see what you mean. I feel like it's just gonna be one intelligent system,
but doesn't
and then every
know-
device we have is just a tool that connects to that system.
But don't they only know as much as we do? Like only as smart as human? Isn't that how that works? I mean, because all of a sudden the internet is shit that we know, like that the world knows. So don't they have to kind of stay with our level of IQ at a certain point?
No, like
because they only know so much about space because some guy wrote about space. Like how would they actually know? Like what if something changes? Like what if they find out something was like false or didn't happen? Wouldn't that totally like malfunction all the other possibilities of other things and like trickle down and then just like fuck it up, right?
No, because like if that guy knows just about space, he just knows about space. He doesn't know about
other things.
He doesn't know about mechanics.
Well, yeah, they would have a better IQ than us for sure.
Yeah, but like you can definitely make a system that can outsmart you. You know, like it just learns.
Nice.
And like no, you can make a game. And you can teach the computer the rules of the game, and you say, learn the game on your own, and I'll learn the game on my own. And it will be able to figure out a strategy that you can't figure out. Like, you can definitely code something that can outsmart you.
That is that good?
Is that good? Probably not.
I'm fucking
Probably
scared.
not. I don't know.
We all just looked at each other.
But we're there, right?
We're there.
Shit.
Oh, no,
You know what we should do? I'm not even gonna say it because they're listening. Look, all this shit that we're doing right now is fucking robots and shit right now. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, shout out to robots. I fuck with y'all, right?
Shout out.
Don't fuck me up, please. I'm one of y'all.
I've always been a big
I'm one of
fan.
y'all. I still have my iPod in mint condition. I treat
technology in a proper way.
Them right.
Robot. Oh yeah, shout
Shout
out
to
to y'all too.
robots.
Y'all fuck
bro.
with y'all.
We're getting filmed by a robot while we're speaking.
Tell all
to
your
a
other robot homies that we're
all
in
the
this shit
robots.
together.
Thank you, microphone. Thank you, Ken.
Hey yo, I ain't gonna lie. Yo.
Hey, thanks for having us be
Yo,
alive.
you know what's crazy?
We appreciate it because
You know
you
what's
probably could
crazy?
just be like,
Robots
fuck them,
God.
and I get that.
Yo, I just heard, and I'm not lying. You know how they got them like, the dolls, the female dolls, right?
Female dolls.
Like-
Like the sex
The
dolls.
sex dolls.
okay.
They got females rope. Well, this is what my
Jacob,
this is my coworker.
our good
I don't
friend
know if
from
he lying or
Oxford,
not.
he was telling me that
He one of them niggas that be just
there was a
saying shit
class
just to
that
say
talked
shit.
about.
He talking
the
about it's
development of
a
sex
machine
dolls
out there.
that he
to
took at
fuck you.
Oxford.
Oh.
Did y'all hear it? I was saying our buddy Jacob, who's like he studies math. He's a mathematician, I
You
guess.
had him on
At
blog.
Oxford,
Yeah.
and he said he took a class on like sex robots.
Sex robot.
Yeah.
How to make them?
Because
How
he was
to
doing
make-
AI. He was doing
No, the development you said.
He was
Oh,
doing AI
yeah.
like formulas, I guess, to
psychology
like
behind
try
it.
to have them make decisions, and he was doing that at Oxford at first. And then he was trying to convince me. He was like, "It's all good," and he's like, "Yeah, they'll just And we're like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, it's already here. Like, whatever. It is what it is."
Oh
now."
my god,
That
bro.
guy's
But also with
People
sex
gonna be
robots,
divorcing their wife.
scares the fuck out me.
but with sex robots, that's gonna get even weirder, right? Because then we will become cyborgs. Where
You're gonna
what
divorce
if
your
they
wife.
can get? The thing is, like, you can make an artificial womb in an artificial being, then you can
That's
make an
not
artificial baby,
That's not
They're
human.
making artificial meat.
right? I mean,
So it's
Yeah,
already
that,
here.
that would be a really weird way.
Where's
of
the
doing it.
but I'm just saying, like,
Where's the artificial meat? It gotta be alright. So you telling me they make an artificial meat?
They are. They made. They
Like
put
the
proteins
Impossible Burger, and there's like Beyond Burger, I think.
Yeah.
So
I still
It's-
like real meat though.
it's
but, like,
impossible to digest because
It
it's
gotta
just
be,
stuck in your body forever.
it gotta be like imposters out here. It gotta be like fake people out here, yo. It gotta be. Like, what if some of the people we seeing out here is really robots?
Let's test it. Boom. No, I'm joking.
They do make robots that can look exactly like people. Have you seen that?
They
Have
make
you
the
seen
sex
that?
dolls
They
now.
make robots like you.
They
You look
made-
it up on the internet. They look exactly like.
But
real
what's
people.
crazy is they started doing it with sex dolls. Like, there's actual robotic sex dolls. They'll talk to you. They'll kind of like move a little bit. It's fucking crazy. But what they do is a loophole, right? Is that they're like, oh, it's just for porn. Like, you're fucking this thing. It's like a vibrating sex doll. But then they make it like almost identical to these porn stars, dude. There's gonna be maniac porn stars running around trying to fuck. And then they're trying to kill you after because they got some sperm from you. Like, that's all I need. Bop! And they kill you.
You got to watch the movie Surrogates. Surrogates. That's exactly that movie. Yeah.
It is. It probably is. I feel like that's exactly.
Yo, think about that shit. Yo, what if
Our balls are going to become
What if something
gold.
comes out of that robot, bro?
Our balls are going to be gold, dude. Our balls are going to be
invaders
gold.
in.
What if something comes out of the robot?
Yo.
And what if the robot gets pregnant?
That's what I'm saying. What if there's a baby?
We're thousands and thousands of years from. I don't even know. I don't know.
So if somebody comes out of that, we need a cut because we gave you hear this shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Who are you talking to?
We appreciate you.
Yeah, whoever out there gonna have
Always,
a robot
always.
baby,
whoever out there.
But John, like with this, have you sent it with the companies and stuff? Have you sent it to anybody or anything like that? Have you met and talked with anybody or anything like that?
I met with a bunch of driving school owners, and like I gave a talk to like it was national. Yeah, it was a North American Association of like driving owners.
Okay.
Driving school owners. So and then I went to a bunch of conferences too. And at conferences you always meet a lot of people.
Yeah. I want to get in.
So I met like with the Secretary of Transportation of like PA, and like I talked to like just a bunch of people, and then you also talk to like a bunch of investors. But usually like investors like often they don't want to talk to you unless you've already started making money. At least like even if you're losing even if you're spending money faster than you're making it, they just like knowing that there's already some source of income. Yeah.
Fair. Did you send it to Tesla or anything? Because I feel like those are the only ones that actually like do the self drive. Have you talked to anybody? From Tesla
Yeah, basically, actually, I met with Elon Musk, and like, I'm not for this, not for this purpose, but like, I meet with him, and like,
wait, what was that like, dude?
Yeah.
You met him at a Starbucks or something?
no, so
Is he
like,
a robot? Is he for real?
he's probably a robot.
Yeah,
He
he's
probably is a robot.
But like, yeah, so that was dope. Like, I got a tour around Tesla's like factory. No, from someone who worked with them, and like, and they were like trying to get me to meet with him, but they're like, yeah, like we don't know if he can, because like it was the day of the second quarter earnings call last year, and that was like a bad earnings call. He was like in a really shitty mood, and like Tesla was like at the point where they were like weeks away from failure. If they couldn't like in a couple weeks get the production numbers better, they would have failed. So needless to say, he was really stressed. He was actually sleeping. Like when I was there, he slept in the factory that night in a sleeping bag. Yeah.
That's wild,
yeah.
man.
So I got like to talk to him for like about 2 minutes, something like that. And I talked to his team for longer, but I talked to him about AI, and I'm like like please do your best, because like he knows a lot of people and like got connections. Like try to make AI safe, and he's like, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, and I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, and then. But I did talk to him about the company too. And like he said the idea makes sense. And then he's like, if you have something, you could always come back and like we could partner up. Like I asked him like if I could come back and like show him like what we have, and then like he would throw in some money, and then he would be like, yeah. But like I'm not gonna go there until like I have something that's worth his time. I'm not gonna be like, oh, okay, I made this half-ass thing. Can you but like the fact that he would like take his time to meet me, when Tesla was like at that point, and like offer that. But actually, what he said also, his advice about starting a company is don't do it. That's honestly his advice. Like that's what he told me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What was his reasoning behind it?
Yeah, but wait.
Did he have reason?
What did you say after that?
No, yeah, and then I'm like, okay, so why do you stay here? Like, if Tesla's like this, and like you're so stressed, you're sleeping at the company, like why don't you take a day off? And he said, because Tesla will fail without me, and he was tearing up when he said that. I swear,
That's fucking crazy,
yeah.
dude.
This man worked hard as hell.
He's like our generation of like an Einstein.
Yeah,
kind of figure.
yeah.
Yo, give it up for me, Elon Musk, yo.
Yeah.
You try it. Try it.
God,
Dude,
damn,
at least with
yo.
all right, so like
You
he
made
made
it.
the first real like actually cool, successful electric car. In
Yeah.
retrospect, could totally save like the planet from so much shit.
Yeah.
Like from us not being around anymore. Maybe if robots came in more, they would be like, we could be more productive and save this
Yeah.
fucking planet. 'Cause at the end of the day, like, we don't got this.
At the end of the day, we had to go
fucked.
electric because fossil fuels are gonna run out.
Yep.
But
So explain
but
that. What
it's
I don't
also
know. I know it's a lot of people like me that don't know what fossil fuels are. Have
Yeah.
no idea the part they
Like
play.
gases or oil.
yeah. So
like,
essentially,
they
like
use cars
oil,
for.
oil and shit that you turn into gas and then you burn it. And like when you like your engine is essentially like it makes these little explosions that propel your car forward. Okay, and when you use something, like the material doesn't go away. So like gasoline, you know, it doesn't disappear when you use it. It comes out of the tailpipe, like in a different form, and then that goes in and that fucks up like our ozone layer, and it basically fucks up our planet. Okay,
100%.
So and we're also running out of it. It's not only fucking up our planet, but we're running out of it. So we have no choice, anyways, but to go electric. But what Elon Musk did is he made the electric car cool, and he made it so other cars companies started making electric cars maybe at least like 20 years sooner than they would have probably.
But didn't he also make like a battery that powered like a whole town?
Yeah.
So like if we did have an electric grid out, it's a battery, right? Like that doesn't. It's already like charged. It's already like a thing, right?
So, yeah. So with electric cars, the limitation for a long time was the range.
Yeah, so
you
you have a
couldn't
Tesla,
you couldn't make a car like even the first Teslas. They could only go about 200 miles on a charge. So and then when it gets cold, it's even less. So that can be a little inconvenient, and that's why it didn't catch on. So you have to make the most efficient battery possible. But once you have an efficient battery, like batteries right now are what like every electronic struggles at. Like if you look at like an X-ray picture of your phone, you'll see that 70% of your phone is the battery, you know? Like that's what takes up all the space, you know? Like the camera's fucking tiny, the brains of the phone is fucking tiny. The only thing we can't make tiny is the battery, okay? And your phone lasts what? One day? You got to charge it again. That's the biggest problem with our phones.
But isn't it because of the use too? Like we left it alone.
Yeah, but like we can't right now. It's essentially it's called it's battery energy density. So it's how much energy can you fit in like one block of space. So you want to be able to do that. That's the reason why we don't have electric airplanes. Because like even Elon Musk said right now he doesn't think batteries are ready that he could make an electric airplane.
Imagine if that shit gave out.
Yeah.
It's like run out of electrics. And you're like, what do we do? They're like, you gotta charge it for an hour. I'm like, I'm fucking flying. What am I supposed to do, man?
Yeah, they could probably do that. They make planes that can refuel.
They're
I
like,
think,
hello, passengers. Hello, passengers. We're just taking a nice quick dive. It's all right. It might feel a little elevated. We're just gonna coast for about an hour. I'll charge. All right. Keep your seatbelts on.
No. Then
Don't
you make
get
the
up.
whole top of the plane. You make it solar panels. You charge while you fly.
Be fired.
And then when you run out of battery, use that.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I know that. I think Google wanted to give internet everywhere by using hot air balloons that like can always stay in the sky because they also use solar power or something. So they essentially Google wants to give people free internet because the more people who have internet, the more people will use Google. So they'll make more money. So it's their in best interest also to get people free internet. But that was one of the projects they were working on.
That's fucking. So I mean, but like that would be like the best kind of way to do it, right? I mean, if we just went all electric, pretty much,
So
right?
What's stopping us from doing that though? Like, what's stopping us from going all electric?
I mean, everything's going that direction. So you gotta figure out what's not electric that could go electric. So planes, okay, that's gonna take time. Cars, okay, that'll work, but it's gonna take time. But a lot of things, like think about if your phone was gas powered. You know, that would be really weird. You know, so it also makes sense to make things electric. And I feel like everything that's not electric is slowly going there, except for maybe rockets, like. Because that you really do need to make a giant explosion in order to counteract gravity, you know?
That's fucking great. So and he's doing this shit with the rockets. And
Rockets
everything
that land themselves. Yeah.
It's insane. Do you know anything behind that? Like how the fuck he could even do that? Like with the amount of speed and everything.
Yo,
Just
what if he
let
put a camera?
perfectly
Wait, what if he put a camera on that car? Did he put a camera on that car?
No, yeah. These cameras all
There
over.
has to be a camera on that car. I mean,
What
if you're
the
sending
fuck is
something
that
in
car
space,
seeing
you're
right
gonna.
now, yo?
I don't know.
I never.
They
even
should make a
thought about
website that's the live
Huh.
stream of
For
what that car
real,
can see.
yo.
Yeah.
Wait, is it
Like
it's a car?
that. Yes,
Good
he
idea,
sent a
Ron.
car in. There's a Tesla in
Yeah.
space right now.
Yeah, he
floating.
shot it in space.
I'm
to
sitting there
float.
like, wait. Y'all
No,
mean
essentially, no,
rocket?
because the way rockets work is whenever you're sending a rocket into space, you're like the company is sending rockets like with other companies' satellites. So they're not going to like pay for that rocket unless it's tested because their satellites are like super expensive. I mean, there's insurance and whatever, but whatever. So whenever you make a rocket, at first you do a test payload where you just put a bunch of heavy shit, you know, a bunch of rocks or something, and see if you can send that into space. Okay? But so for one of his rockets, he had to have a test payload, and like he's a billionaire, he doesn't fucking care. He's like, all right, just you see my car? Just load that up.
Yo, that's some gangster shit. Yo,
Yeah.
he was like, yo, damn.
Dude, that's fucking crazy though. I mean, he could just. Why can't he be like NASA? Why can't like?
I mean, NASA works like with. So NASA used to build their own rockets, and now they outsource that. So like Blue Origin and like SpaceX, they do the rocket launches for NASA.
Oh, okay. So they just kind of. What was Elon into like? Aerophysics or something? Like, was he astrophysics or like I don't know? Like, was he? Did he?
I mean,
what's his background?
He took physics. He took physics in school, and then he went to Wharton. He went to Penn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
A lot of people.
Yeah.
What? Hold up.
Shout out to
Shout
Philly.
out Elon Musk out of Philly.
Fuck
dude.
with Philly.
Elon
yo.
Musk out of Philly,
Yo,
dude.
Elon
Look
Musk
at
fuck
that.
with Philly.
Fuck with
Yeah.
Philly.
Wow.
I never
What a
knew that.
small world.
Damn.
Yeah, actually,
My
no,
bad.
that was his first venture. He said that what he did is to pay rent at school. Instead of getting like a 1-bedroom apartment, he got like this big ass crib, and like was constantly throwing parties, and like was charging at the door.
He's a genius.
Yeah, even his mom like charged at the door sometimes. Yeah, but like
He's a Philly ass bull.
Yeah.
That's a Philly ass thing to do.
Yeah.
Dollar parties, dude.
Elon Musk was having dollar parties.
Dollar parties,
Fucking
bro.
genius.
That's the best way to make money out
That's
here. The week
DIY as
sucks.
fuck, yo.
You need a nice dollar party night, you know.
That is funny.
You know, there's
shit.
good drinks. Nice women.
Did
That's
you ever
funny
think
shit.
about doing any space shit?
no, but I know people who do. I know people who do, but like, yeah, I don't know. I can't design a rocket.
Is that just like a whole other world?
Yeah, whole other world. Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, man. What's up?
That's crazy. I feel like a lot of people that's like up there and shit went to Penn, yo. Like all of Trump's kids went to Penn.
Did they?
Did they?
Yeah, I think so. His son, Trump went to Penn.
What? Did
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, he went to Wharton.
No
Yeah.
way.
Shit.
All right, well, you know, I'll fuck with these. I'm not out here cheering that up.
Yeah. Doesn't
You know
get
what?
the round of applause.
Shout out. He got there. I'll give it to him.
I mean, he's definitely smart. He made his way to president.
He got there, but you know, I don't fuck with him, but he did it, I guess. You know, he did what he said. I respect that. He hustled.
Trump ate a cheesesteak in Philly. From where?
Oh wow, no fucking way. Who fucking? If you bit, what the fuck are you talking about?
Let's have a
Debate on cheesesteaks? Don't even.
no. Let's have a question. Where did Trump have his cheesesteak from Philly from? Did he
Kev, can you pull that up?
Geno's, yo. It definitely was Geno's, bro.
Kev, can you pull that up for me, please?
That bird is Geno's.
I bet you.
It probably was Gino's, that fucking pussy, dude.
I got faith in you.
No,
Delisandro's, dude, is the
I hope
best.
to God he didn't go to Delisandro's. That's a real Philly cheesesteak.
That's that real shit. Yeah, I don't want him
We
there.
don't want him there.
That shit's sloppy as a motherfucker. It just falls all over you, dude.
It's probably not even up
So
there.
actually, I shouldn't bash Trump though.
John.
He went to Geno's. Fuck.
Ah, of course. Of course he went to fucking Gino's. All right, well now Gino sucks officially, bro. Sorry, Gino's. I'm just joking, but you know, I'm not trying to start no beef with Gino's. You're all right, but I'm just saying. Delisandro's all day. That shit fall apart on you. You got that cheese whiz on there. I know a good friend of ours. I won't say his name, but his name is Kobe, right? He gets that shit plain, just steak on a bun. Yeah. Honestly, it's probably fine. It's just like, all right, I need a lot of water.
Kobe has crazy theories when it comes to fast food.
Yeah, Kobe was really sitting here one time. Kobe,
Last night, bro. You never said nothing about you eat cheesesteaks with just steak, bro. Come on, bro.
yo,
Cheese on that shit, bro.
Kobe's a good guy. Is it probably a good reason? Why he
there's
eats
not. There's
cheesesteak?
no reason. Dude, he thinks eating a whole pizza to the face is probably like a nice diet way. He said, I swear to God, right to me and John.
Yeah, he's like,
He
makes
was
you.
like, wait, listen. He was like, what if instead of like you eat a pizza occasionally, you like let it digest, you just eat it all and you just take a giant shit. And I'm like, dude, it sounds like you're like lactose intolerant or something, dude. You're having diarrhea after you. I mean, you should have diarrhea after you eat a whole. But why? Why would you do that?
We should get Kobe on the test, yo. That would be kind of hard. He's a teacher.
I'm not trying to talk shit on him. Oh, he's a teacher in the school
He
district.
teaches and shit, you know what I'm saying? He makes music, does all that shit. That's hard.
Yeah, I don't want to pipe his head up though. He's not that cool yet. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
But from there, what do you want to do with the business, John?
A lot today. You'd be surprised. My mind is fucked right now.
Yeah, real shit. My mind's blown, man. I definitely learned.
That's been like a cool ass fucking
I learned
job.
what equity was.
But what do you want to? What's the plan now? Like with the business and everything?
I mean, I really got to see how I'm gonna move forward.
Yeah. Does it make
I-
sense to sell somehow, like early, or does it make more sense to sell like, or is that even like?
I mean, yeah, it really depends on what you want to do. So like, there's a lot of people who are good at starting companies. They're not good, like they're good at like entrepreneurship, but they're not good at management. They don't know how to run a huge company. They just know how to start an idea, build a team, get the idea done. So what a lot of entrepreneurs are going to do is they're going to start a company, and once it gets big, they move on to the next idea. Like I've talked to like some entrepreneurs, and they'll be like, all right, where do you see yourself in 5 years? He's like, oh, in 5 years I'm out.
So I have a question.
All right, but John, so like, if you had some advice for a young entrepreneur person, right? What would it be? Like your final word out, like to someone that's out here trying to really hustle and bustle out here, trying to start something new.
I mean, I'd say only do it if you enjoy doing it. Because, like, you can't do it expecting it, like, oh, I'm only going to do it because it's going to get big. And, once it gets big, like, then it's going to be fun. And then I'm going to, like, it's going to be a lot of work the whole time. The whole time. Okay? Because, like, essentially, like, as the company grows, where you're going to be spending your time is on the shittiest, most difficult thing. Because like you're always going to be working on the problems of the company, and every division, sometimes things go well and sometimes things don't go well, and you're always, if you're running the company, going to be working on the things that don't go well. So like unless like you're like getting the most out of it, like by that's super rewarding and fixing problems all the time and here and there, and they're always going to be different types. Because even if you start like a company and a thing that you know a lot about, like once you start a company, there's going to be a lot of things that you don't know a lot about that you're going to have to learn, and you're going to be spending a lot less time doing that one specific thing that the company is about.
So do something you love.
Yeah, do what you love, and if you love starting companies, then do that.
So, John, it's been fucking real. This has been such a fucking good podcast, dude.
One of the best podcasts I've done.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This is informational as fuck.
Thank
and
you.
what I love that you brought on is a lot of young people, they think, a lot of people don't know how to take care of their money. And a lot of people get stuck in these cycles where they're wasting all their money, getting scratch-offs. This is what the whole episode's about. And this is what I wanted to say, right? Fuck all the scratch-offs. Stop that shit. Invest. Invest is the scratch-off, pretty much, right? Would you rather be spending spending $60 maybe sometimes a day on some scratch-offs? It's crazy.
I feel like when you like gambling with your money, doing like certain stuff, even like selling drugs or whatever you want to do, you might as well gamble your money on doing like on investing.
Percentages.
So
that's good.
You can double your money.
But this has been fucking real. Thank you so much, John.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
has been fucking dope.
Definitely fuck with Philly.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, dude. We all fucking with Philly. And John's straight out of Philly, and we out here, and we appreciate this episode. So, until next time, kids, we're fuck with Philly. Bam! Run it off.